right, so let me give you the lowdown on SIGs. Specifically the SIG P320 and every SIG I've had. I've had several P320s, and I've had a couple P365s, and this is my consensus on all their dangerous things. Any double action only gun that doesn't feature some type of bladed safety in the trigger, the same way that a Glock does or that everyone else does in the industry, except for SIG. And if you can think of another gun out there that has a non-bladed safety mechanism built into the trigger like the SIG, comment down below, let me know what it is, but I can't think of one. I don't know of one. SIG is the only ones that are brave enough or maybe dumb enough to do it. You could say, hey, the P320, you can get one with the safety. That's fantastic. But just trusting that, what they call trigger safety, which I don't believe it. I would like a bladed safety in the trigger the way that everyone else does it. I used to have M&Ps. They had a trigger mechanism that had a safety built into the trigger. I just don't trust the P320 without having some type of bladed safety in the trigger. Now, that being said, have I ever had any issues with it? No. I still have an old X5 with a recalled trigger. One of those that you were supposed to send back in. It wouldn't have been recalled if it was a perfectly functioning, safe trigger. It is in my opinion, it is some kind of faulty, dangerous trigger. So because of that, I can go ahead and tell you that I believe that the P320 is not a great, safe, perfectly designed system. The FCU, that is a really cool invention. I bet everyone starts working their way over to a fire control unit that can come out and be changed out and go into different types of grips and frame bodies and stuff like that. But I do not believe the P320 is the best thing ever, and even honestly, I do not believe it is a very good design. It's probably a good design, it's not a great design. Now let me tell you that something that I did with my P365. I had a P365 X Macro. Awesome gun. I mean, it was an amazing gun. Shot great. My best friend now carries it. It's an awesome gun. Amazing mags. Everything seemed to work flawlessly with it. Never had any issues. But because I did daily carry it appendix, let me tell you one thing it had. It had a bladed safety upgrade. The trigger was not the same. It had an aftermarket trigger in it with a bladed safety. So when I would reholster or anything like that, I had a little bit more peace of mind. So that is something that I think that they should just go to. The problem with that is if they were to switch the trigger mechanism out, then what they're doing is they're admitting that they might have dropped the ball on the first generation or the first iteration. They're admitting that when they go ahead and change it. And they probably don't want to back down. 6 Hour doesn't want to back down. But that's the problem. Now, on all their rifles, I think their rifles are incredible. I've had a couple, but right now I have a SIG M400 Tread. That is one of the absolute best ARs for the money I think you can get. It is an unbelievable rifle. Really, really, really great value. I have $500 in it. It's an awesome gun for $500. It is far superior than anything else I have for $500, except for a Spikes, which I picked up literally a couple weeks before COVID at a gun show. But absolutely love, with a capital L, love my SIG rifles. They're fantastic. Now, I have a very dear friend who has a MCX and a couple MPXs, but he has an MCX and an MPX. Let me tell you the problem with the SIG MPX and the MCX. They are not backwards compatible. Do you remember back in the day, if you had a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4, how it would be really cool if you had the one that was backwards compatible, where you could play the older games on it? Well, you can't do that on the SIG rifles because they're completely proprietary. And when they come out with a better version or a newer version, they're no longer backwards compatible. So the bolts and all that stuff, it's just, that's one of the problems with them. They're not mil spec. Now, I used to have an old SIG 5.56, and my best friend still has several of them. They're awesome guns. They're kind of like a, I don't know, I mean, kind of a hybrid between, they're piston. They're kind of a hybrid between like an AK or a European style mixed with an AR. They're awesome. The 5.56 rifles are great. Really cool. I never had any issues with them. They're a little front heavy, but they all have folding stocks, like literally a folding sideaway stock, so they can fit underneath the truck seat very easily. You don't have to buy one of those law folders. But that's kind of my take on the SIGs and everything that's been going on lately with the SIG pistols and the SIG rifles. I don't think the P320 is a great pistol, honestly. It's not. I do like the size of it, but not for carry. I do think the SIG P320, if you are looking for something that's, you know, outside the waistband or something you want to turn into like a race gun, which was kind of how my X5 is, it's very good for that. It's very suitable, very soft shooter. But dude, that thing is big. So the guys, it's like a Walther, like a big Walther PDP. I love Walther PDPs, but it's not something that you're going to conceal. So people who are like, oh, I love my, I love the P320. I love it for everyday carry. No, it's not a good everyday carry gun. Sorry, it's just too big. It's just too fat. That thing is thick. Same way the Walther is. The Walther is thick. It's big. The P365, far superior. Love it. Never had any issues with it. The only thing I would recommend on the P365 is you get a aftermarket trigger, which has a built-in bladed safety. That is the best thing I can tell you that I ever did to mine. It was amazing, and had a great trigger. That thing had awesome groups. Shot pretty flat, snappy, of course, but I mean, it's a small gun. I mean, what kind of small everyday carry gun isn't going to be snappy? Right now, I'm running a Shadow Systems, a little CR920, and that gun's awesome. Holds great groups. It's a good trigger, a little better than the factory Glock trigger. Has a really nice trigger face, but that gun's still snappy. It's a small little gun. I mean, a 43X, a 43, they're the same way. But the SIG, I just don't know. I feel like the 320 has to go the way of the dodo bird, which is extinct, I think, unless they're not extinct, and I have been told that the dodo bird is extinct, and they're not. Look at that Bronco with the good-looking blue. Bronco, they copied the Jeep blue. Ford. But, yeah, that's my rant for the day. I'm just driving in the Jeep, doing a little, 5-10 minute rant about the SIGs. But, yeah, P320, that thing needs to go into the history books. And, yeah, maybe they'll come out with a version 2 of it. They probably will because they're so invested with it. I would like to see a version 2, which probably a completely different fire control unit and maybe a bladed safety. That would be awesome. But they have kind of lit themselves on fire. That whole thing is a dumpster fire. Everything going on right now with SIG. But that's just my take on it. And P365, I would buy another one. In fact, for my daughter, who really enjoys shooting, I'm thinking about a good all-around first and maybe, keep it forever gun. And I'm seriously considering the P365 Fuse. Their full-size P365. I'm considering that. So, nothing against them. They just need to do better on the P320. and throw in a bladed safety, which is what I would do. I'd put a bladed safety on the P365 for my daughter if I got her the fuse. That's the first thing I would do. I would change out, I think it's agency arms, but someone makes a bladed safety trigger mechanism for it, and that's an incredible thing. So, am I done with SIG? No. But do I think that they have mishandled all the stuff with the P320? They absolutely have. Hey, that's my hot take for the day. I'm just driving around, kind of a Jeep rant, and I hope that you are having a blessed day. Hey, be good. Peace.